Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got a video for you about Quickscoping community poll results. If you missed the video, I did a pros and cons of Quickscoping real-life testing video, and I included a community-wide poll to get as many responses as possible to see what the Call of Duty community thought about Quickscoping. This is the video where we're going to go over the results, and I gotta tell you they're surprising. The gameplay that you're seeing right now is me sniping, not Quickscoping, with the USR. I do a little dumpy in the beginning, but it picks up a lot around the 1 minute mark, gets a lot better. And let's start off with some numbers. I got 15,195 responses before closing the poll. I decided to cut it off to 15K because that was a nice big fat reasonable number. So just a little bit over 15,000 people gave me their opinion about Quickscoping, and the results I got were very different than expected. I was kind of gobsmacked by what we've got here. I guess that means it was good data. If it came back exactly how I expected, then it would probably mean that I rigged the polls or something, but we'll discuss methodology later. Let's look at question number 1, which is how much skill does Quickscoping take? You had 10% saying none, it's very easy, 43% saying it takes a little bit of skill, requires some practice, 39% saying a lot of skill, requires a lot of practice, and 7% saying it is all skill and it's impossible to do without practice. What this seems to indicate is that most people believe that Quickscoping is at least some combination of skill or luck. You have very few people wanting to say it's all luck or all skill. It is slightly in favor of it being luck. We have a little bit more people saying none, it's very easy. We have a few less people on the other extreme, and we have a few more people clumped toward the little bit of skill. I'm not sure if that's statistically significant. It might just be how I worded the question or the order that the questions were in. But either way, the Call of Duty community agrees that Quickscoping is both skill and luck. It will get better with practice, but it is something that I guess isn't going to be happening consistently, which leads us to the next topic. Question number 2 is, do you think that Quickscoping has an advantage over other close-range weapons such as shotguns or SMGs? The vast majority of people voted for sometimes. 51% of people said that sometimes Quickscoping has an advantage over other close-range weapons. You only have 10% at always, and you have 21% at most of the time. On the other end of the spectrum, you have 18% saying never. What is really concerning about this is we have 31% of players, being the always and the most of the time, saying that it is usually advantageous. These people are going to say that they expect you to play better Quickscoping than you will with shotguns or submachine guns in close quarters combat, which is kind of a scary thing to think that 3 out of 10 people believe that, but the majority are still saying that it's sometimes advantageous. Not many people are on the never. Maybe I worded this one wrong again. I thought that most people would assume that Quickscoping is not advantageous close quarters combat, but that's not the case. Whether that's actually technically factually true or not doesn't matter, but most people perceive this to be the reality. Question number 3 was the big shocker for me, but not as big as number 4. You got shocks all the way down here. I asked, does Quickscoping negatively impact your gameplay? This was a very binary question, yes or no, with no scales, no multiple choice, no numerical rating, and it came back a perfect 50-50 split, almost perfect. I have never, in all of my days of constructing polls, of analyzing real data, of polling people, of all this stuff I had to do all throughout college, I have never seen a real poll with this many responses come back this 50-50 split. That is so, I mean, there is a little bit of difference there, but that is in no way statistically significant. That's as 50-50 as it could possibly get, and I assumed that this would represent the players that would want to nerf Quickscoping or remove Quickscoping. Like, I assumed that it would again be 50-50 split. However, question number 4 was kind of a tricky way to ask that. Ask what would you do about it in Advanced Warfare, which is probably the same thing they would do about it in this game here. And we move on to question number 4, is what should be done about Quickscoping in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. The majority of players said leave Quickscoping alone. There is a pretty tight split in the middle between people saying it should be made a little bit harder or made much harder, and another big clump on the other end saying that we should completely remove it from the game. But there is still a decent majority wanting it to either be left alone or tweaked and included in the game. It seems the majority of players do not want Quickscoping totally gone, and some of them want it fine. I took a little bit of flack about this question. Some people said to make it fair, I should have had an option to say make Quickscoping easier or make it like a previous game, and in retrospect that does make it a flawed because I'm not allowing them a negative on this sort of option. But again, very surprising. I assumed that most of the community would want Quickscoping gone. I assumed that most of them were very against Quickscoping, but the data that I have here indicates exactly the opposite is true. This data surprises me mostly because I assumed that the majority of the community would want quickscoping gone or nerfed or removed, but the data told the opposite story. It's not even that they're perfectly split on quickscoping. It seems that the community is slightly in favor of keeping quickscoping in Call of Duty, which again surprises me. And again, I would like to remind you that this poll, this survey, my gameplay, what I'm doing here is about quickscoping and not sniping. I took a little flack in the last episode. Drifter, why do you hate snipers so much? I just don't think a whole lot of quickscoping. That's why we had Cross's opinion for and then my opinion against. But for now, it seems that the majority of the Call of Duty community wants quickscoping to stay, which again shocks me, but that's the data that we got. I'll talk about a little bit about my methodology. We did an open Google Documents poll. It was very easy to create. It's probably the easiest thing for everybody in the world to use. It's embeddable. It's postable. We could have done ones that had better controls. We could have had ones where you had to sign in that logged IPs, that logged cookies, but unfortunately not everybody would fill those out. So there is some opportunity for multiple responses. There probably were a few people trying to spam it. I didn't seem to see any like repetitive data. I don't think anybody wrote any scripts or APIs to spam all the way. If they did, they were doing manually. And you can assume people doing about equal on both groups. So I would say that the data is fairly accurate. Where it was sampled from is another thing that I've taken a little bit of flack about, and I'll explain myself. I wanted to get samples from my channel, this personal channel, because I believe that you, my subscribers, those of you that are still listening, are very well educated, especially about Call of Duty, because I try very hard to make this the smartest Call of Duty channel there is, and well educated in general, because, you know, we're doing maths here. We do math. We try. Statistically speaking, I know from my YouTube analytics you're a little bit older than average. There are generally less fanboys here. That also ties into the age, but it's also a large group of people. So even in a large group with these characteristics, you do get a diversity of opinion. I got samples from the iPlayCOD forums, which is considered to be the most positive voice in the community. At the IPC forums, they usually just completely ban anybody that's trolling or toxic. You're just gone. You just don't count. And I also got samples from the IPC or iPlayCOD Facebook page, which is probably the most mainstream community outreach that you could possibly do as a Facebook poll that people, Facebook was a post, the same Google poll that they share with their friends. So you get a pretty good sampling. I purposefully did avoid trolls, even though, as we've discussed in previous videos, that trolls are a part of the Call of Duty community. They're a part of the Call of Duty community in a very negative way, and we don't want them to just make it worse. That's not something. And I also had people ask me why I did not include quickscoping channels, why I didn't reach out to FaZe, why I didn't let Pomage throw this up, and that's because it would completely, totally, and radically skew the results. There are people that believe that all the quickscopers only watch quickscopers and they don't watch these loser reg gun YouTubers. But if I threw this poll out to, let's say, Pomage, he would get like 50,000 people that are all quickscoping fans to come in there, and that would just demolish the results. I made the base assumption that the people watching my channel and they're on iPlayCOD and Facebook are, and I think Cross tweeted this out as well, we'll get a good sample of people that use normal guns and quickscopers, that the sample we got is representative of the larger community. PC was probably not included a lot. PC guys don't watch YouTubers as much, and it is largely console based, but unfortunately PC is a very small part of the community because of other things that we'll save for a different date. But that is the data that I got. In retrospect, I wish I had more numerical scales. I probably then could have done some better analysis on this instead of these multiple choice questions, but I made it fairly quickly, and if I do another community poll, we'll have scales so that I can do some really awesome analysis. And again, it seems like most people want quickscoping in the community. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something useful, and if you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.